Welcome to the Concealer Throwdown. So today I am going to be discussing with you guys 4 different concealers that I have been trying for a very long time. I actually meant to film this video months ago, so if you'll notice in the clips of me applying the concealer, 3 of them are the same and the other one's in a new location because I'm in a different location. So yeah, I've definitely given these concealers a lot of thought. I'm gonna try and share with you everything I've learned so that you can pick the best concealer for you. And yeah, to get started, in case you want the short version is they're all good concealers for different reasons, and the long version is the reasons why. I have prepared some notes here that I will be looking at because I took notes as I used the concealer, because I knew that when you're using a product that are similar, or in this case, you know, are for the same thing, unlike eyeshadows that are completely different colors and textures, these are very similar. It was easy to start forgetting what I liked about each one, so I started taking notes in my phone, and then I went through that again and formed all my final thoughts and wrote it down to help guide me through this process. Okay, so concealer number 1. This is the Kylie Skin Concealer. I believe they only have one kind. They have a nice range, 30 shades, and they have quite a few darker options. So if you're dark complected, the range in the darker colors is pretty good. This concealer costs $20 and is available at Ulta, also at Kylie's website, the Kylie Cosmetics website. They claim that the concealer is creamy, lightweight, buildable, a luminous satin, and water and sweat resistant. For me, it lasted through the hot sun and getting sweaty, and was more luminous than the other concealers we're going to talk about. It has a more tacky feel when you're first putting it on, and I think that's part of what keeps the luminosity up. It's not quite as full coverage as the Tarte Shape Tape, but it is quite full coverage. You know, it's enough to cover up dark circles and brighten up your under eyes, but maybe like for facial imperfections it wouldn't do as well. But for these, I mostly did the highlighting method because I don't have a lot of spots. But anyway, it also doesn't really dry to a powder finish if you don't set it, so it does keep up with the luminosity claims. It will crease some, which is a lot of the reason that I do set my concealer, even though I have really dry skin. I would recommend this concealer to people with drier skin and that can't stand whenever the concealer makes their under eyes feel crusty. P.S. I know that in the video clip it may look dark for my skin. It wasn't really a highlight shade on me. I picked the wrong color, but considering I had bought 4 concealers, I did not want to go repurchase a new color. But I still did test it out and wear it a lot to get a good feel for it. I just use it less than the others because of that reason for me, but I would consider repurchasing it. Concealer number 2 is the Colourpop No Filter Concealer. This also has 30 shades, but it doesn't have as many dark complected choices as the Kylie one. It is $6.50 on the Colourpop website. I purchased mine in an Ulta store, but I could not find it on Ulta online, so I'm not sure if there's a price difference. On the website, they didn't have as much information on this one, but it claims to be matte and full coverage. Compared to the other concealers, this one has a thinner texture when you're putting it on, which is good. It creates a more blendable and mistake-proof concealer. So by that I mean, like, if you're using a sponge especially and you put too much on, it just blends out nicely. It doesn't make lines like where you stop the concealer. When you have a super full coverage thick one, which I will get into a little more lately, sometimes I notice like it'll get a little cakey right here, especially like if it meets a powder area weirdly or something like that. So this one is more mistake proof with a sponge. Now if you add too much with a brush, it will get a little cakey, but other than that, it's pretty good in the blendability category. I would say that this is a good price, but it wears off more quickly than the other ones. So in about 8 hours, it's going to be almost completely gone. But I would say it starts wearing off around 5. and then would be completely gone around 8. I guess it depends on what you're doing that day. It may last longer, and if you really do a great job setting it and everything else, it may last longer. But it's not quite as full coverage as the other ones, but it is buildable, so you can make it more full coverage than one sheer coat would be. It does crease a little bit initially. Pretty sure they all do. This one dries down a lot faster than the previous one, the Kylie one, which is to be expected because it is a matte. So it does dry down faster and have a matte finish, whereas the Kylie one, like I said, it feels a little tacky unless you set it. And then I made a note that I thought this one might oxidize slightly. It's not super noticeable, and the shade I got was light enough that I haven't noticed it tremendously, but to me it looked like it might have got a little bit darker. So that's just something to consider. I'm not saying that it for sure always does that because I didn't notice it that many times, but I did one time think it might have. So just a note, I'm not going to say it I don't think it does enough to be a problem. Like, it's very, very mild. Concealer number 3. The Benefit Boi-ing Cakeless Concealer. Now, this comes in only 12 shades. It's $22 and is available at Ulta. It claims to be 24 hours, long wearing, and waterproof. To me, this concealer is very good. It's blendable. It has a natural matte finish, and by that I mean that even though it's matte, it doesn't not look like your skin. If you want to wear no foundation and wear concealer, it's not going to look like you just have concealer under your eyes. For me, if I do that with Tarte Shape Tape, Tarte Shape Tape is so full coverage and such a thicker texture that when I put it on, you can see, like, here's my skin, here's my concealer. With this, although it covers completely, it is full coverage, it blends into your skin more naturally. If you're one of those people that doesn't want to do a full face every day, I would say it lasts half a regular day great, and then it starts to slowly wear off. I did do a 24-hour test on this concealer. I have a lot of long trips from Hawaii to West Virginia, so I did test it out for a full 24 hours, but it did not last a full 24 hours. Granted, I was sleeping on a plane and things like that, so that might have increased it, wearing off. But I did leave it on for 24 hours where I was mostly awake, and I would say it was almost completely gone, probably around 20 hours. Really started wearing off after 15 pretty badly. I said half a regular day for like that looks really good wear, and then slowly until about 15, and then 15 to 24 hours. Say about, it was mostly gone at 15 and pretty much completely gone at 20. And I would also say this is a matte, but at about 5 hours it starts to feel really dry. And lastly, I found the Dove applicator to be a little more annoying in this concealer. All the concealers have one, and the Kylie and the Colourpop one is more of a flat one that bends. But this one is almost like a replica of the Tarte Shape Tape, but I don't think it does as good of a job. When you put it carries less product, and then it also kind of will like make little lines, like where it's not perfectly soft all the way around. I feel like it will kind of go into my foundation, which doesn't matter because I'm covering it up anyway. But it's just not as it's not as satisfying to apply it. It doesn't make nice creamy streaks, and I have to dip it in way more times as well. So I'm not a fan of the applicator on this one. Concealer number 4. Tarte Shape Tape, which I probably should have put first because I have referenced it throughout all the other ones so far. But the Tarte Shape Tape comes in 30 shades, and it is the most expensive at $27 from Ulta. It claims to be full coverage, have a matte finish, creamy, easy to blend, won't crease or flake, nourishing, and illuminates for a lifted effect. I'm not sure when concealers really flake. I found that a weird thing, but I'm not exactly sure what they meant by that. But I have been using the Tarte Shape Tape for years, so it's definitely one that I like, and so does everyone pretty much on YouTube. I don't know anyone that doesn't like it. It is the most full coverage out of all of these concealers and has the best applicator. It can be harder to blend, as I was mentioning earlier, when you are doing, even when you're doing a full face of makeup as well as when you're not. When you pile it on and then if you forget to blend anywhere out here, it dries and then you can't really go back and repair it. So if you don't think to get up here near your eye perfectly and blend it into your foundation really good, it will dry and you can get like a circle if you don't get it blended good. It shouldn't be a problem, but sometimes if you get in a rush and don't think about it, it's less mistake proof than the others. I definitely think it is the most long wearing out of these foundations, but it is, like I said, with the blending, it can get more cakey than them as well because of that thicker formula. If you add too much, especially with a brush, which this is going to be true regardless, but with this thicker formula, it can just happen easier for more, I guess if you're more inexperienced or not used to the formula. I recommend a beauty blender to soak up that extra product so that you have wiggle room if you want to add a little more, take a little bit away. But I pretty much have it down to like how much I put on and then I blend it out with my beauty blender. But if you're using a brush and you don't have a beauty blender on hand, if you put too much product, then you're just going to have an issue because it will get cakey, and I think it can dry a little bit fast. Not super fast, but like if you get distracted and start doing your hair or something, sometimes I'll like go back and forth for some reason, which is probably not effective. But anyway, so that is just something to note. Alright, so now I'm going to give you my overview of opinions on these concealers. So I have ranked them for what I think they're good for. But I want to preface that with saying I've highlighted things about each one. So depending on what you want the concealer for, what your use is for it and what kind of skin you have, and also how much you're willing to pay for it, should influence which one you buy. I personally think all 4 of these are great concealers for different reasons. And it makes me actually want to try more concealers because for years I kind of, Tarte shape took the game and I didn't even feel like trying anything else. And then more and more foundations were coming out this year and concealers, and there's been so much makeup. I thought, okay, there has got to be something besides Tarte Shape Tape because, they've just been doing it for years, and I decided, this is a great concealer. Why would I switch? I used to use the Urban Decay Naked one like years and years and years ago, but the Tarte Shape Tape has just become so good and well known that I have not really tried anything for pretty much 2 years. So let's go over my final overview of my thoughts. So in my opinion, for me, Tarte is the number one. The reason that it's the number one, and now it is the most expensive. But if I'm going to only own one concealer, I would choose it because it is going to be there for me for events. If you're going to prom, weddings, yada yada yada. If you're one of those people that wants to do a full face ever, it can always be there for you for that. And if you're not doing a full face, it will work too. I just don't think it's as great with a complete naked face. If you're going to put on a BB cream and stuff like that, it will work with it. And I have worn it with a naked face. It's just more noticeable difference in the full coverage and not full coverage, which is what you get with a full coverage concealer. Sorry, my cat just I heard a noise. It shocked me. Okay, so anyway, for me, it is the most different consistency out of all of these concealers because it is just thicker, more full coverage, but it also has the highest price. I said that Kylie and the Benefit Boi-ing concealer tied. They're a little different. The Benefit one is just like to me, it's just a little bit down from the Tarte Shape Tape. They're very close. It's a little bit thinner when applying, but it has a lot of the same effects. But they have only 12 shades, so that's kind of crappy. It's also kind of an upscale version of the Colourpop because, like I said, it doesn't reach that same full coverage that the Tarte Shape Tape does, but it's a lot more money. And then the Kylie one is thicker, but also tacky and better for dry skin, and it has a better shade range than the Benefit. So I tied them because they have benefits that are different. And then I put Colourpop in 3rd place. It has a great formula. and a great price. My reasoning for putting it that low is just because it wears off too fast. Other than that, it's a great concealer, especially for people, you know, if you just want something cheap and you're a more natural girl, it's going to be great for you. These are all great concealers. I'm thoroughly impressed with them. I lied. I have tried the Makeup Revolution one, and I did not like it. I started to include it in this video, but I just really don't like it. And so I didn't think it would be good to just include it and then just talk crap about it. So I'm not a big fan of it. But these 4 are new ones, except for the Tarte Shape Tape I've had for years, but I bought them a couple months. Well, probably like September, August, and I've been using them since then, and I will alternate them constantly. Like, I haven't just been using the Tarte Shape Tape. I have been alternating them until this video, which I will probably still play around with them. So that's all you need to know on these 4 concealers. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see a throwdown in, okay? So that's it for this video. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up for more. Bye, guys!